everybody. My name is Debbie Stine. I'm the Professor of Practice in Engineering Public Policy and Associate Director for Policy Outreach for the Scott Institute for Energy Innovation. Today, we're going to talk about the Allegheny Cleantech Prize competition. We're one of 8 national regions where competitors come, in our case, from a 4-state region to compete. It's here at CMU. This is our 3rd year. The last year of our grant, unless the program continues, so we've learned a lot for the first couple of years, and this year we'll make it a superstar year and hope that the DOE decides to continue the program. So I'd like to, for those of you who have ideas, now how many of you have ideas and are looking for partners on those ideas? Okay. 2 of you? Okay. And how many of you are interested in being on somebody's team and are not on the team already? Okay, good. Okay, so a little bit later in the agenda, we're going to provide an opportunity for those who have ideas and are looking for team members to sort of make a pitch as to what kind of help that they need. And then hopefully we're going to have a little bit of time for networking after this event is over. I also want to let you know that one of our speakers who won our prize last year is unable to make it because of good news, which is basically had to meet with a venture capitalist. So unfortunately, he canceled on us. However, we'll hold another event in the future, and we'll bring back some of the Carnegie Mellon, what I call student entrepreneurs. We really have a very good collection of them. Every single year, we have had one team who has done really well and has moved from the student status to actually like running a company, all within sort of a year of graduation. And some of them while they've graduated. So after we hear from Alice Wang, she's from the Department of Energy, the Technology to Market Program Manager there. I'm going to give an overview of the competition, and then we're going to move into some Carnegie Mellon specific information. Talking about a new program we have called Ideator, which is a new program to put information about your project. Also, we have our new makerspace, and somebody's going to come in and talk about that, and we'll talk a bit about the funding that we're going to provide for prototyping and so forth for that activity. And then at the end is when we're going to make the pitch for those of you who are seeking partners. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alice Wang. As I said, she's the program manager for DOE for the Tech to Market program there. And she's going to give you an overview of all the Clean Tech Up competition. And Alice, why don't you describe a little bit about your own personal background and how you got to be working at DOE before you sort of start your pitch?
Sure. So first of all, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, you're very soft, so the louder you talk, the better.
Okay, so I'm practically screaming on my end, but hopefully you can hear me. My name is Alice Wang. As Debbie said, I'm the program manager at the Tech to Market office within the Department of Energy, Office of Energy and Renewable Energy, or EERE as we like to call it. I've been here for about over a year now. I started last August and took over some of the portfolio programs here, including Cleantech University Prize. Before I was at DOE, I was actually at the Department of Defense, the Department of Navy, and energy innovation programs over there, concentrating on early stage science and technology efforts with focus on operational efficiency for the military. So it's been quite a transition, but I'm really enjoying getting to work with so many aspiring entrepreneurs and innovators in the clean tech space, and we have a lot of great programs that we offer here at Tech to Market. So today I want to share some of that information with you all, and hopefully that will be useful to everyone in the room. So I'm going to share these slides right now. So like I said, I'm going to give an overview into the Technology to Market program. and then talk a little bit about Cleantech Up. I obviously want Debbie to share what the Allegheny Cleantech Up looks like, but I'll talk a little bit about it from a strategic level, and then also want to have this opportunity to talk to you about other programs that we offer that I think can be really beneficial to any entrepreneur, innovator seeking assistance from Department of Energy. And I listed my email on this slide. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I can be in touch with you. So like I mentioned, Tech to Market is in the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. EERE's vision is a strong and prosperous America powered by clean, affordable, and secure energy. And its mission is to create and sustain American leadership in the transition to a global clean energy economy. EERE is divided into at least 10 different technology offices, and each technology office is focused on a particular technology. So we have a solar office, we have a geothermal office, manufacturing, and so on. My office, the Technology to Market program, is an overarching office that works collaboratively with each of the tech offices and helps to think of different pilot programs to run so that we can address all different commercialization issues. So Tech to Market helps to bolster American innovation and competitiveness by looking at and eliminating what are the most common barriers that are preventing transformative technology. We're doing this by reimagining the pathway for clean energy technology with a focus on two areas that are interrelated. One is market readiness, and the other is resource access. So these are essentially all of our programs bucketed into those two areas. We actually just recently announced a new program not under these two. So as you can see, our portfolio is definitely growing annually. We're really excited to be able to pilot these game-changing programs that can help a wide array of entrepreneurs and small businesses. And I'm not going to go into detail about each of the programs listed here today. I'm just going to target those that I think are most helpful to you all in the room. So of course, the reason why we're here, Cleantech University Prize or Cleantech Up, this program is a series of business plan competitions. The objective is to provide aspiring student entrepreneurs like yourself with a chance to compete for prize funds, as well as mentorship, business development skills, commercialization training, and investor feedback that you to turn your business offering real-world solutions. There are 8 regional competitions, one of which is hosted by Carnegie Mellon. But the others are listed on the slide here. Each host will have an annual regional competition for $50,000, and then the top 3 teams are invited to compete at the national competition. The time frame for the regional competitions usually happen between February to early June, and then the national competition will occur in mid to late June. And the national competition is put together by our national hub, a nonprofit organization called VentureWell. So if you're interested, you can apply to actually any of these competitions. There are some stipulations that vary among regionals, but the only caveat is if you happen to win the $50,000 prize at one competition, you can't win it at another. But many of the other competitions have different sponsorships and other partners who offer in-kind services and other cash prizes. So certainly go out and seek these competitions. And if you're interested in The link to those other competitions I did provide it below. It's www.cleantechup.org.
And we should mention, Alice, that the picture here is somebody from Carnegie Mellon who won the competition a couple years ago.
Yes,
so that's
exactly.
Leon, that's Thomas Healy's the head there, the guy in the suit and tie in the center, which is a hybrid trucking system.
Yeah, they're doing great things. They actually just closed a Series A round, so certainly, as you can see, participating in Cleantech Up can lead to a lot of great things down the road. So now I'm going to turn my attention to the other programs in our office that I think can be valuable to you all. One of them is called the program. So these are actually 3 programs in the program. The program embeds top technical talent within DOE National Labs as entrepreneurial research fellows. So if you apply and are accepted for a 2-year term, you as a fellow would perform early stage R&D while receiving a cost of living stipend. You would receive seed research funds, access to national lab facilities, equipment, and the expertise of those who work there, as well as additional mentorship and training. So currently we have 3 programs. One is Cyclotron Road out at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab in California. The second is called Chain Reaction Innovations, which is at Oregon National Lab just outside of Chicago, Illinois. And the last is called Innovation Crossroads at Oak Ridge National Lab in Tennessee. And actually all 3 of these programs have launched their applications for their next cohorts. So if this program sounds interesting to you, certainly feel free to visit the website linked below and apply to any of these 3. Cyclotron Road literally just launched their application today, their 4th cohort. The next program I want to highlight is called Build for Scale. This is a training program because what we found is that a lot of entrepreneurs don't know much about manufacturing. It's quite a difficult process. So this training is hopefully going to help entrepreneurs with the tools they need, manufacturing readiness, help them make and evaluate what are some smart design decisions, and engage with a lot of different manufacturing partners across the country. Since this is one of our newest programs, we actually just did a few pilots this summer. We're hoping to deploy the training in late fall or winter of this year, and provide entrepreneurs with all of these manufacturing fundamentals. The next program I want to talk about is actually one that I also manage here at Tech to Market. It's called the National Incubator Initiative for Clean Energy, or NICE. NICE helped fund a national network, which is called Incubate Energy. And this network connects incubators to critical industry and energy sector partners. Incubators and accelerators we found are really great partners for startups because they are able to run different challenges and different investors, just really help startups to that next level in the commercialization pathway. So this network has a number of different incubators and accelerators across the country that are there to help you and your journey to the next great idea for clean energy and potentially a business. So I really recommend that you visit the website incubate-energy.org. There's probably an incubator near you that you're not aware of that's doing a lot of great work. And they have a lot of excellent programs and resources that And the next program I want to mention is small business vouchers. Small business vouchers helps to open up the doors of national labs to clean energy small businesses. We find that most people are intimidated by the national labs. They think it's a really difficult process to get involved. So we wanted to create a program that made the made all the lab practices transparent and get access to the labs and what they offer. So the labs give entrepreneurs a really incredible competitive advantage in the market. So we hope that by having a voucher system, startups can become more aware of what national labs can help them out with, and national labs in turn can be more aware of the challenges that small businesses face in this sector. And there have been 3 rounds so far, and over 110 businesses have participated in these voucher systems. We currently don't have plans for a 4th round yet. This is a program that we collaborate with businesses in. So we're looking to funds from them to host the next round. But if there is a next round, then you'll definitely see an announcement on the website sbv.org. Then the final program I want to mention is the Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR. You may have heard this program because it's statutorily required by DOE, but these are really great programs to help enable small businesses to contribute to energy security and economic growth by accessing federal R&D funds. So by applying, you have the potential to get seed funds that could lead to commercial impact. There's different phases that you can apply to, and a large amount of funds per year that's distributed within these 2 phases. Again, feel free to visit the website for more information. They just went through one of their recent phases, so I think they're going to be gearing up to launch another phase pretty soon. So this is definitely a great program to enable to access R&D funds and get access to drive economic growth. So with all of that, I just wanted to throw up this slide here. This is just at a glance some of the impact that our programs are having on the innovation ecosystem. I talked about most of these programs with the exception of Energy I-Core, but as you can see, there's definitely a lot of impact happening within these programs. We're really all about helping small businesses and entrepreneurs like yourself to either get access to expertise, facilities, funds that you need to launch your products and help grow and commercialize, or we're trying to catalyze clean energy startups at college campuses like Cleantech Hubs. So these are just some of the programs that we're running so far. We're definitely hoping to expand our portfolio in the coming years. Really excited. I'm very excited that you're all here today. Cleantech Up is a really great program because it really empowers the next generation of clean energy entrepreneurs, all of you, and help the participants gain the right and connections to get technologies, your great ideas to the next stage, because that just helps us all on a whole with energy security and competitiveness. So with that, if you'd like to learn more, please visit our website. The link is over here. As like I mentioned, if you have additional questions you'd like to ask, emails on the first slide. I can definitely share these slides with you all if you'd like to comb through. Want more information, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you, Debbie and Amanda, for the opportunity to today information.
Great, Alice. Thank you very much. So any questions? No? Okay, so the Cleantech Prize competition, as I mentioned before, this is our 3rd year. We cover 4 states, and these are our founding partners, which are the organizations within the region that helped us put together the proposal. It includes Pitt Center for Energy, Innovation Works, which is our local incubator, the Center for Entrepreneurship on campus, the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and the Energy Innovation Center, which, by the way, they have an event. Let's see, is it tomorrow night? No, Wednesday night? I think Wednesday night. We can go see the Energy Innovation Center and what it's about. Now, as I said, the competition covers 4 states, and all these partner universities, which are all the major research universities in our 4-state region, which is Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Maryland. These are all the universities that, you don't have to be from one of these universities, but most people who compete are from these universities. And they come here to compete, for the $50,000 prize. We've had a variety of winners over the years from the different universities. And there's an advisory group, and that advisory group is who I work with when developing, say, how the competition will work, and to try to recruit students from all over the place to come to the competition. So if anybody's watching this on the web or video, there is a contact for each university, which is on our website, which is cleantechprize.org, that you can reach out to let them know that you're interested in competing. So why should you apply? The first reason is just money. I'm sure that lots of folks would like the $50,000 prize. Note that this does go to the company. You can't go out and buy like a cool sports car or something with it. You actually have to use the money for your company and to help take it to the next step. I will say that in addition to the prizes of the national competition, we've had several teams who've done well at the Rice competition at Rice University, which is the biggest one in the world. And the students who've done there have won on the order of $125,000, $150,000 in prizes of one kind or another. And what's probably even more important is sort of getting connections with investors and industry contacts. As an example, Gecko Robotics, which won the energy portion of the Rice competition a few years ago, they made some connections with Shell. So they had this robot that does inspections on the inside of boilers, and Shell was interested in using it for things that they have in the ocean. So when they have buoys and things like that kind of are in the ocean, it's not kind of unsafe and hard to check them. So part of their partnership that they got from the Rice competition was to kind of do the research and development for sort of a whole new track of entrepreneurship. We're doing well. I think the last time we checked, they were in 15 states, Gecko Robotics, and they're here in town, and they're often looking for people. So if you guys are interested in that, you should reach out to them. In addition to the first place prize, we usually have additional prizes of $5,000 to $10,000. Those vary each year because we try to give a lot of flexibility to our judges, so that if they see some super good ideas, that they can, sometimes we've had 2 second prizes or 2 third prizes, and then we've had a fan favorite. So there are also these smaller prizes as well. And then another advantage is it'll give you an introduction to the regional and national incubators and entrepreneurs. They're also involved in our competition. So sometimes we'll have them come and speak. Some of them have done videos for us, and they're judges. So last year, I think we had about 30 judges who were from not just from the local region, but from different parts of the country. And those connections are often as valuable as any financial reward you get. And the students, the Carnegie Mellon students at least and the other corner outside Carnegie Mellon, who've gone to national competition said the same thing, that those connections and so forth they make have also been really important. You also get technical, legal, and business mentoring. Education entrepreneurship. The Venture Well is an organization that provides an education program as part of the National Cleantech activity. And then also this year I've become a Venture Well faculty scholar. So I went through training in the summer to kind of see how they do it so that I could transfer some of those lessons to the class I teach here, which is on energy, innovation, entrepreneurship, as well as other activities that we do. And then also makes our teams eligible to skip a level. At Venture Well, they have different levels training that you can do. So if they go through the program that I put together, then they have opportunity to apply for like the second level of training and skip the first level of training. Education entrepreneurship, we sort of talked about that, the feedback you get from the judges and investors. And then also the Department of Energy does an awful lot to publicize and keep track of all the energy innovators and entrepreneurs who've done well in the competition. So who's eligible? So you have to be a current or recent undergraduate, graduate, or postdoc student from the 4 states, Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Half the teams must be students. International students can compete, but you have to have at least one team member who's a U.S. citizen. And the students are required to present. Non-student team members can be on the stage, but they cannot answer questions. So I'm going to stop there and say, does anybody have any questions about eligibility? So what ideas are eligible? So anything which is related to the EERE mission, which is, again, the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Office at the Department of Energy. Things that focus on enhancing energy efficiency and productivity, bringing clean, reliable, affordable energy technologies to the marketplace. And pretty much if you look at the examples, anything in the renewable energy realm, things that are new technologies, new way of generating energy like fuel cells, modular turbines, energy storage. So it's a very flexible program. The one thing I would say is there's really not too much you can do that's in the sort of fossil fuel space. That's only every once in a while. There's sort of 2 reasons that we've had to go back. One was we had first year we had one that was really just totally fossil fuels. It was on carbon capture. And the second time, it was something where they did when they submitted their application, their initial application for intent to apply, the energy action was not clear. It was energy efficiency, but they didn't explicitly say this is what we're going to do for energy efficiency. And so we went back and worked with that team, and that team, by the way, was Gecko Robotics. When we looked at them, they said, okay, well, but it is. They go and they can reduce energy efficiency by like 4 to 8%. It's some boilers, so it's a lot of energy. It's not just like a little bit of energy. And that actually helped them sort of advance in this kind of energy technology world. They also, after that, went to Y Combinator as well. And some of the things like Venture World are really focused on energy, not just, say, robotics. So here's some of the technology categories. You see buildings, advanced manufacturing, vehicle tech, energy management, weatherization, the whole sort of slew. And so we have 2 tracks. So the reason for the tracking is not because you're going to compete in a separate track, but for the judges to have some idea as to where you view yourself. So the 2 tracks are ready to commercialize, and those are ones that are somehow have a validated prototype. They're really ready to kind of move into the next phase. And then we have the transformational idea track that have the potential to have a major impact. So over the 2 years of the competition, we've gotten about half of each, half ready to commercialize and half transformational. And we've had the first year transformational idea won. The second year ready to commercialize won, but a transformational idea got second. And the finalist in both of these is almost exactly been half and half. So this was a conscious decision on the advisory committee's part that we would continue. We would let everybody compete. Some competitions, like the rest competition, you really have to be sort of ready to commercialize. And I went to, for example, one year, and they said, well, you have to, like somebody has to be ready to invest and look at getting money back from you, like right away. With Caltech, which is who we used as a model for our competition, they have a transformational idea track, but it only gets the $5,000 prize. One of the senior teams actually won that last year at Caltech. But we are treating both ideas as the same because we think it's as important to have something that's really transformational as it is to have something ready to commercialize. And so some people get a little bit confused, but the tracking is important because the judges will say, okay, well, this is where they're at. They don't think you think you're ready to go and sell your widget tomorrow, but you have something that's really unique and really different. The transformational I did at Carnegie Mellon last time, which won the Caltech competition, is something called teratonics. And what it does is it takes like energy like out of the air. So like say, for example, the projector that we have here, somehow it gets energy out of the air and into the machine. So you don't have to like constantly change batteries or provide power supply and things like that to it. That program is now part of the NSF I-Core program. It's an idea from a faculty member that one of the students took to the next level, and that student's not graduated, and that he's just basically working full-time on moving that technology to the next step. So again, the transformational idea are promising technologies, preferably with some sort of validation, but that's not required. They're just beginning to develop the business model. They're based on their own ideas or something from grant support or research. You don't necessarily have IP, that's intellectual property protection, and they're not necessarily incorporated. Then they're ready to commercialize are the ones that already have maybe some early seed or startup phase funding. They maybe have gone through, in our case, say Innovation Works or one of our other local incubators and got some funding. They have some sort of IP and intellectual property processing on the way. Maybe it might be just like there's a patent you can get for sort of the first year, like when a paper comes out, it might be one of those patents. They're also looking at legal incorporation, or that's like the next step they might do. And there might be also some corporate development underway if they're looking at, say, licensing. So in terms of the intellectual property status and business development, all the entrants are required to disclose the status of their IP in the competition. So there will be a form as you go further along in the competition that you have to sign that says this idea is really your idea. Then you have to be in the early stages of venture capital where you don't have more investment than $200,000. Their incorporation is not required when entering competition, but you do have to have it if you win a prize during the competition. And that again is so your $50,000 is not used to buy a car. That is used for business expenses or a trip to Europe or whatever you feel like doing. Also, the student members of the team must have a combined minimum equity of 20% of the company. So if you're working on, say, a faculty member's idea, you need to have some equity as part of that company in order to compete. So here's the timeline. The most important thing is the initial stage is December 20th. And at that point, you need to fill out the statement of intent form, which is just a very simple form that lets us know that you're interested in the competition. Then your first submission, more formal submission, is a draft 2-minute video and a 10-slide deck for feedback. Then in that case, what happens is the members of the advisory group and anybody else that we pull in who's, people who've been our judges in the past years, so it's angel firms and people from the incubators, they'll look at those and they'll give you suggestions within 2 weeks of that. And then you'll use those suggestions to prepare your final 2-minute video, which is due February 19th. So I've sort of scheduled these so they're around holidays. So January 15th is like Martin Luther King weekend, and February 19th is President's Day weekend. So at this February 19th stage, you do your final 2-minute video, your 10-slide deck. You say if you need additional mentoring, and at that point, we'll assign you a mentor. Sometimes people need business. So maybe it's a bunch of engineers that need some business help, or there are a bunch of business people that need some technical help. So we'll provide you with a mentor at that point to kind of give you some informal feedback as you go along. We select the semifinalists by March 5th, and then the competition is on April 6th. That is part of our Energy Week that we have each year. So this is the first week of April, and this is the Friday of that week this year. And then if you're one of the top 3 winners, as Elsa said, you then go to the national competition, which is usually sometime in June or July. I think most of the time July, because some of the competitions go into June. The first year it was in Denver, last year it was in Austin, and then we pay for the expenses for you to go to that national competition. This is the statement of intent form. So if you have any notion that you think you're going to do it to compete, please fill out this form as soon as possible, and that will help us give you a linkage to mentors either here at your university that can help you to the next stage of the competition. The next thing I'll talk about is judging criteria. So we're looking at initially the market customer competition analysis. We're looking at the product in terms of like how innovative the technology is. We're looking at your business model and financial plan, and we're looking at the overall team presentation and some sort of wow factor, something that makes you special, different from all the other folks that are out there. And then and one thing that's unique about our competition is all the teams will do a non-market analysis, which is looking at the policy opportunities and barriers. So usually I set up a half-hour chat with every team that competes, regardless of the university, to help them through this process. In the energy policy world, the energy technology world, this is really important because of the important role that subsidies play, regulations play, things that are ever changing. So what else? First, the winning business should be U.S. based, but it can target foreign markets. Teams can enter multiple competitions. So the RISE competition is actually going to be the same week as our competition. It's very competitive into the RISE competition, but you can apply to both. Another good one is Clean Energy Trust, which is in Chicago, so it's not too far away. That also is very limited in terms of how many student teams compete. And then we've also, as I said, had success at the Caltech competition, which tends to be also a bit more in the summer. So ours is one of the early competitions. I think that's an advantage. Gecko Robotics, I mentioned earlier, they didn't even place in our competition, but when in the meantime, they went through the Y Combinator program that they were accepted into. They went to the RISE competition, and I and Tom Healy, the person I mentioned earlier from Highland, we coached them a bit more to improve their presentation, and then they ended up winning the energy portion of the RISE competition. And now, like I said, they're doing quite well in terms of actually having a business. So it's really important the more of these competitions you go to, just because you'll get better at pitching and you get more feedback from the judges, you can constantly adjust your slide deck and your other aspects. So practice talking to a lot of people is really important. It's also important that you work with your technology transfer office. They will provide guidance on issues such as disclosure, patenting, other legal issues. Once you go and compete and you talk about your technology, that is considered to be public disclosure. There are ramifications of that, and you want to make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're doing at that stage. So where can you find help? The first is cleantechprize.org is our website. There you'll see some educational videos, like how do I know if I do it is a good one, talking about your team, how do I pitch to angels. So these are videos we did the first year of the competition, and then we've added some additional videos as well from students who've done well in the competition. Your university's Center for Innovation Entrepreneurship, also the related Allegheny Prize Advisory Committee member, which may or may not be the same person. And then if you talk to finalists from previous competitions, that is also another good way to sort of understand how to pitch. So these are educational videos. I talked about earlier creating a successful business team, knowing your ideas, what's non-market analysis, how to pitch to angels. Troy Dangler is one from Gecko that I mentioned earlier. He talked last year to the group. The previous year we had Tom Healy and Han Alexander. Han Alexander is a Soul Power as well. And so with that, just here to say the date, Energy Week is 4th through the 6th. This competition is on the 6th. And the week itself is very interesting, as well as the competition, where maybe you're going to have some event that we've been looking at with one of our Alpha Lab Works, which focuses on manufacturing, to have an event after the competition that are more of an educational kind of thing. So hopefully we both compete as well as get some education and feedback on your competition. We also wanted to mention this competition, which is the Trans-Tech Energy Development Conference. This used to be based in West Virginia. It's now a joint venture between Carnegie Mellon, Pitt, West Virginia, and Case Western. And it is on October 24th and 25th. It's at South Point in Canonsburg, which is about 30 minutes to an hour away, depending on traffic. So we are looking at people who are interested in presenting research posters there, in which case we'll help you put together your poster and print it and so forth, so you can get some feedback from the investors who will get that idea. You'll also be able to see other people pitching, so it gives you some idea about what it's like to pitch and how things happen. We're looking at having this bus that would go maybe from here to the competition so that people can go back and forth. So we have a form for this, which I don't think we have the link on, but you can ask Amanda afterwards, and she will tell you the form that we have if you're interested in doing, because we're going to have to make a decision pretty soon as to whether or not we're going to hire a bus to go out to this competition. And this is all our different things. We also have a monthly newsletter, cleantechprize.org subscribe. So even if this competition is not necessarily the right one for you, or you'd like to do multiple competitions, it comes out every month. It kind of gives a status as to how our past competitors are doing. Some who didn't necessarily win, but are still doing quite well. And it also talks about all the other competitions, not just in the United States, but worldwide. It's amazing how many competitions that are out there. And then you can also follow the Scott Institute on our assorted social media. So I think that's it. That one is me. So, any questions? Yes.
If we're in the I-Corps program, we can participate in this?
Yeah, so you're a student?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, as long as you're working with on your own innovation or you're...
Yeah, I'm on.
You're okay. Yeah. So there's no problem with being from the I-Corps program and also competing in these competitions as well.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so for the we have people who are possibly listening to the webinar from other universities, so I'm going to tell them that we're going to switch to sort of a Carnegie Mellon focused presentations at this point. So you're welcome to stay on, but there's no need to stay on. And with that, I guess we have Diana here. Do we have Erin here someplace? Okay, Erin. Okay. So why don't we start with Erin? And Erin is going to talk about the new program called Ideator.
Everybody hear me? So we have a new online software that is called Ideator. You can find it at cmu.ideator.com. If you have a @Andrew, @Pepper, or any kind of @CMU email, you can already just log right in. And what it is there's going to be, we're launching next Wednesday, actually, right after Launch CMU. But you can add your idea onto the page. You can bring on your teammates. Make a profile. There's lots of resources. We'll also be doing like mentoring on there. You can find mentors, you can find teammates, you can post questions. It's kind of like a centralized forum for startups and ideas and things like that. So like I said, you can log in now already, but we won't be launching until next Wednesday. So, and there's also some of these sheets out at the front door. So if you're interested, you can go and look at that. Yeah, sign up. Thanks.
Okay, so any questions about that? Yeah.
Thanks for your presentation. I just missed your first slide. Just a question. Is there any limitation to have a certain number of, for example, engineers or from other students from Haynes or Tipper School, or we can just.
Okay, you talk. Okay, so you're talking about the competition, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, so you can have, as long as the only limitation really is on, you have to have students on the team, and you have to have at least one student who is a U.S. citizen, or well, at least one, I should say one team member is a U.S. citizen. It can be, for example, a faculty member if you're working with somebody. So it doesn't matter how many are from Tepper or from engineering or whatever. Who's on your team?
I've not made it.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, yes, yeah. Well, the other thing I mentioned is we're going to talk, after we have these great presentations, so people can make sort of a pitch for team members, for their innovation. So you might want to participate in that.
Okay.
Yes.
My question is all this information up on the website, or do we have access to the presentation by any
Right. So all the information that I presented, sort of like the slides, we'll post the slides from Alice Wang, who started out the presentation, and then also our slides, the ones I just went over. That will be posted along with the video of this activity. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Anything about Ideator? Ideator is totally free, right? And
Totally free, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's something which is new. I saw it demonstrated at one of the events, and I thought it would be very useful for our teams to have it, to kind of like centralize everybody in the same place, so that when people are, like we usually often have, we have people who have ideas and people who want to be team members, but sometimes that matchmaking is challenging. We particularly often need engineering students with business students or business students who need engineering students. Yes.
Will it be available for alumni when we graduate? Yes.
Friday.
Yeah.
And I should say the CMU is pretty good about providing support for alumni after graduation. Like the 3 students I talked about earlier, all of them are alumni, and we still work with them whenever they need help. Most of the time they get to be pretty independent. They get to know more than we do. But we do sort of keep track of them, and they're also very good about coming back and talking to students and sort of giving some ideas about things like how do you balance, like a student class activity with being an innovator. A number of our students that got their ideas when they were bachelor's degrees, sometimes they go into master's degree, and that kind of helps maintain their student status, even if they take just like say one class or something a semester. So there's lots of different ways you can do that, but there's also an alumni program. I can't remember the name of the program. The people compete.
Oh, the McGinnis competition.
Yeah, the McGinnis competition also is for alumni. Yeah. So there's ways to get funding through that as well. But generally speaking, we really are lucky that we keep track of the sort of our alumni for long periods of time as they sort of make their way through the sphere.
And a lot of alumni get involved, and they want to be mentors and advisors and things like that on teams.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much, Erin. Okay, next we have Diana Haidar. Did I get it right? Haidar. So close. She's a new professor here, mechanical engineering, and she is going to talk about our makerspace.
My name is Diana Haidar, and I work in the new College of Engineering makerspace. I'm leading the initiatives in that area. So you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a makerspace? It is an area for collaborative work of making, teaching, learning, exploring, and sharing. All right, so these are what makerspaces are. There are a few that you may already know on campus. One is Ideate, another one is Morewood Housing, and so our College of Engineering makerspace is adding to that collection. So why are we doing this? Why is there a push and initiative for making? And makerspaces offer the opportunity to go from ideas to reality. And each of these makerspaces have a specialty. So over in Ideate, the specialty is broad collaboration. You have dance students, history students, science students, engineers are all coming together with very different perspectives, and then looking at the same project and then feeding their ideas into that one project with all those different viewpoints. And then another one is the Morwood Housing. They provide easy access and also a social connection for people to get together and do making in a very casual way. And then our new space is intended for engineers. So we're trying to use this space to have theory of engineering applied into hands-on real-world scenarios. And then we want to do high-tech problem solving. Okay, so how do we do all these things? Well, we need resources. 3D printers. We have multiple different types. One is a resin-based, which is from Form Labs. Another one is filament-based. That's the Ultimaker. We also have some Cube Pros. And then we have other types of availability, but those are the big ones. And you can go ahead and take a 3D part that you've modeled, for example, in SolidWorks or Inventor, and you can put it into the program, and you can print out these cool little plastic objects. You can look at the build volumes online. They're pretty big build volumes, actually. So we can go to extreme sizes, but then also these parts can either be just sort of hands-on for touching, manipulating, getting ideas, and understanding how it will work in the space, to actually being engineering grade. You can put these into a engineering prototype and then physically test it and see how it performs. We also have laser cutters. You can cut a few different materials in here. One of them is thin woods. You can also do cardboard, and acrylic is actually one of the most popular. And acrylic can come in different colors, which is actually beneficial if you want to look really cool. And then what these do is they take basically 2D objects right there in a plane, and then you can put them together to make a larger 3D object. Machining equipment. This is a specialty one. There's a class in mechanical engineering called 24-200, machine shop practice. You do have to take that class. It's just a mini 2 hours a week, every week, one time a week. And it's open to all of CIT. There are dozens of slots open. Please go ahead and sign up to get your access to make really cool things like this. I ran an event previously that we did engraving of a pen holder for women in engineering. There's also hand power tools. That one is very simple. You go online, just a few minutes, and take a hand power tool quiz. If you've heard of EHS, Environmental Health and Safety, they have a website called BioWraps. You just do CMU EHS, look for the link to BioWraps, you log in with your Andrew ID, and in just a few minutes, you will have permission to use hand power tools. And then the last item is things like electronics and soldering. We have stations for these and equipment for these. But we have even more. And all of these different pieces of equipment can let you make almost anything in prototyping phase. For example, there's a do-it-yourself class being offered this semester, and they're 3D printing physical parts so that they can make molds. And the idea is that they can sort of mass produce items in a mold. Okay, so where is this supposed makerspace? It's actually just down the hall from here. If you're in the 4th floor of Scott Hall, the cafe, which is currently right around here, you would walk down the hallway, and then it would be the last door on your left before you exited the building. If you were over at Scaife, you would walk through the big green doors, immediately hook a right. And this is kind of what it looks like. So if you're in the cafe, you'd be walking down this way. And if you enter in here, this is the hacking space, the design space, or prototyping space. There is a computer cluster for you to use. Please note that there are class times listed. So it's reserved privately only when classes are using that space at the designated times listed. And then if you have machine shop practice, you can go into this, our temporary machine shop for students. And we have more coming soon in 2018. More space, so room for, instead of 2 laser cutters, 4 laser cutters. Instead of, 5 or 10 3D printers, we can pretty much double that essentially. But the idea is we are open for business now. Our open hours are Mini 1, as you can see listed here, and Mini 2 also listed here. So as I mentioned, there's only 2 things that have limitations on them, and they're not that big of a limitation. One is just the hand power tool training quiz online through EHS and the website called BioWrapped. And the other one is machine shop practice if you want to use heavy-duty equipment safely, okay? So are there any questions for me?
Questions? So what if a non-CIT person wants to use the space? Is that
That's a great
allowable?
question. We have open hours and we don't turn people away. So that's a great question because I do want to be clear. Our number one priority is supporting classes. Some of you are in Dr. Stine's class, and I'm sure you know that you can do prototyping for your projects, or if you're other groups of CIT, you can do the same. What you need to do is you need to preferably have a budget from your class for your project. And you come into the space and you say, hey, I want to use a 3D printer. I have no idea how, and even if you need help with CAD, we can give you some CAD help. But the idea really is you come in and you say, I want to print this thing. And then you talk to one of the people who work in the makerspace, and they connect you immediately with that resource. If you don't know how to use a laser cutter, but you said, look, I have this design, and help me get it from a 3D part to a 2D part, and then get it into this printer and print it with a 3D laser cutter, they will help you. So the idea is there's almost no barrier. You walk into space, you say, I need this much material. So for 3D printers, it's volume. If it's laser cutters, you need some acrylic. You just charge for acrylic. It's just the base cost of materials used so that we can replenish for other people. And the idea is that your professor would preferably give you like an Oracle string number, and that we would just charge the class for the use of actual material.
And so we did, which I don't think you had a chance to do yet, but I did visit the space last week, I guess. So the Scott Institute for Energy Innovation will fund innovations that are related to energy. So we're going to provide a string to Dr. Haidar so she can do so she can put this, so people can go to her and just say, oh, we'd like to have, we want to do this kind of prototype or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she'll just check in with me if there's any questions, but basically, you guys can go ahead and go forward and use that space if you'd like to do some sort of prototype.
And then you can talk to the team members. If you want to say, I don't know how much this will cost, they'll say, hey, look, I can show you the price per unit of volume. Using the software for free, I can just show you now, this is how much total volume your build is. I want to give you some recommendations for, you have an object in 3D space. What's the best way to orient it? If you did it this way, I'm pretty sure the build might fail and we'll be wasting time, your time, everyone, and then material. So let's turn it the other way, and then we can have a successful build. They'll work with you to be most successful, least wasteful, most time efficient. And this is a space that's used while you're using the equipment while you're there. So for example, let's say you have a part that's prints for 4 hours. And you get there right at closing time at 4 p.m. So you can start the part, and you can print it until 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. for 4 to 4:30, and then we're going to hit a pause button, and then you'll know how much time it is, because all these machines tell you how long the build is, and you come back and you take it out of the machine when the build is done, like the next day. So you would measure what that was at 8 a.m. to whatever it is, 11. And you have to arrive at 11, because these people are here to help everyone get their goals accomplished. But that means some responsibility on the point of the user to say, if I'm going to be using this equipment, I'm going to come back and get my part at the time it is complete to open it up for everybody else. And if you don't know how to get your part out, please tell them, because they would love to show you. And they'll show you once, and then if you're capable and you're confident after that, do it yourself. And if you're not, they'll teach you a few more times. It's not a problem. They're there to help you.
And one thing I think it's also good to mention, you told me how important it is to have a prototype when you're in these competitions. Why don't you talk about that a bit?
Sure. So when you're addressing a group and you're saying, we can do this and we can do that, and our prototype, will be successful for these reasons. If you don't actually have a prototype, it's hard to convince someone that you actually know what you're talking about and that you've really researched this topic and you've invested time into this project. So even if it's something super basic, like let's say it's a windmill, all right? None of you is going to make a many stories tall windmill. But if the whole idea is that the windmill connects to some other electrical grid, you could feasibly and easily, make a mini-sized windmill and then have a cord leading to whatever system you're discussing. So even if it's somewhat abstract, if you can bring it down into a physical handling object, just to help the people that you're expressing this idea to better understand it, more than just a 2D piece of paper with a sketch on it. It will mean a lot. And especially if your object is supposed to be a prototype, like a physical object at the end, and not just a process, that's huge. If you want to start out on your best foot, show them what you mean, and show them you mean business.
Okay, great. Any questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, so now I'd like anybody who would like to, is looking for team members to come up and use a smartphone and talk about what kind of team members they're looking for and a little bit about their innovation. So I know we had some. You're looking for anybody? No? Okay. Anybody looking for team members? Oh, no. I thought I saw hands there earlier. Anybody? Okay. Okay, last chance for questions. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming then. And as a reward, maybe there's still some cookies in the back that you guys can snag before you head out to your next class. Just come up if you have any additional questions. Thanks for coming.